Springtime always reminds me of everything green, luscious, not only the plentiful gardens full of vegetables, but creepy swamp stories here in the South. So today, we are going to make Old Bay pickles and then turn into Shrek. Well, our version of Shrek while telling some creepy swamp stories. So stay tuned. First, to make those Old Bay pickles, you're gonna need a cucumber, fresh dill, garlic, your pickle seasonings including mustard seed, celery seed, peppercorns, bay leaves, an Old Bay seasoning, or whatever seafood seasoning you have, kosher salt, a clean jar, maple syrup, a measuring cup, and a whisk. And you cannot forget the white distilled vinegar. As you can tell, this video has definitely been inspired by my nails from Olive and June. They are little tiny mossy mushrooms. While we start out making these pickles, we are going to roll our jar over the dill just to make it more fragrant and open it up to season our pickles. Put some of it at the bottom of the jar. Crush up some bay leaves and put that in the jar as well. Put that aside, and now we're going to make our pickling mixture with 1 cup of water, 1 cup of white vinegar, 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, half a teaspoon of peppercorns, half a teaspoon of mustard seed, half a teaspoon of celery seed, a tablespoon of Old Bay seasoning, some crushed up garlic cloves, and you're going to heat this up and boil it over the stove or in the microwave till the salt is completely dissolved. And while our pickling mixture is heating up, we are going to cut up our cucumbers and put that in the jar as well and top it off with the leftover dill. Then take your pickling mixture out of the microwave or off of the stove. You could put a splash of maple syrup or honey in. And now we're going to whisk that together. And once that's all dissolved and whisked together, we're going to pour that over our cucumbers. And you're going to let that sit on the table till it's room temperature and then put it in the fridge for a few days. And a few days later, you should have some glorious, tasty Old Bay pickles. These are amazing with burgers, sandwiches, in a salad by their own. They're so delicious. This recipe actually came from a TikTok creator, so definitely check out her TikTok account down below. And let's get on with some creepy swamp stories. Now let's dive right in and head on over to Louisiana while we turn into our own version of Shrek. If you don't know, Shrek is a troll that lives in a bog swamp, but we are going to turn into a more cute version while talking about the Honey Island Swamp in Slidell, Louisiana, and the creatures that wreak havoc upon it. In Slidell, Louisiana, there's the Honey Island Swamp, named that due to the abundance of honeybees, which is Louisiana's state insect. The Honey Island is one of the most pristine marshlands in the whole entire United States, with 70,000 acres of swamplands that is also protected by the government, and is part of the Pearl River Wildlife Management Area. But amongst these swamplands, there have been known to be an origins of a monster. This Honey Island swamp monster has been called many different names amongst Louisiana residents: Bigfoot, the Bayou Beast, even the Wookiee. Not to be confused with Chewbacca from Star Wars fans out there, but theories and speculations about this beast started swirling nationally in the early 1960s. There are local stories that date back hundreds of years even before that. Cajun and Native American folklore associates this swamp monster with Letechi, which describes a human-like creature raised by alligators after wandering into a swamp as an abandoned child. Other tales allege that the swamp monster is the offspring of not only a chimpanzee, but an alligator as well, after a circus train crashed near the Pearl River, resulting in several circus animals escaping. There has been little to no evidence suggesting such a creature until one day, 2 hunters saw something that they could never believe. The first documented sighting of this beast was from Harlan Ford in the year 1963. Ford was a retired air traffic controller. He used to fly a twin-engine plane to scout hunting grounds and potential hunting campground locations. He found the perfect spot to camp, but it was so deeply secluded in the Honey Island swamp that half his travels would have been made by boat and then walk the other half. One day, Ford and a friend were hauling supplies to their campground when they noticed from a distance what seemed to be like a large animal on all fours feeding on another animal. Fearing that this animal would be frightened and try to attack them, they quickly drew their guns. As soon as they did this, the creature quickly stood up on 2 feet, looked them dead in the eyes, and took off running. Ford documented what he saw that day in a letter that he later wrote. He described this creature as being over 7 feet tall, having a dingy, grayish hair color with yellow eyes, and it was accompanied by a disgusting stench, an awful smell. And here's a picture of what was described. Having witnessed something so strange, Ford became determined to spot this creature again. He gathered evidence for some 10 years and eventually went back to his hunting location where he first saw the creature. On a trail near a small watering hole on his adventures, Ford noticed something that looked like the aftermath of a fatal fight for survival. Seeing spots of splattered blood on the ground, he crawled through shrubbery to the other side of the watering hole to find a wild boar that had just been killed and had his throat completely ripped out. Next to the boar was a series of very large footprints stuck in the mud. The footprints were later casted by Ford using liquid plaster, and it indicated a massive 3-toed webbed foot. Ford took this track castings to local game warden to be analyzed, but they could not identify what type of animal left these tracks. Ford even went a step further, trying to find out more about what he saw that day. He decided to bring his camera with him every time he went to his camp. It was thought he was unable to ever capture any evidence of the beast on film until a startling discovery was made. After all these years, local hunters, fishermen, news stations, even the Discovery Channel, and more have continued to preserve the legend of the Honey Swamp Island monster, but none of them cover the story as closely as Dana Holyfield. Dana is the granddaughter of Harlan Ford and has continued her grandfather's research for a documentary in a book titled Honey Island Swamp Monster Documentations. All her works can be found at honeyislandswampmonster.com. And when her grandfather passed away, she was given a roll of 8mm film labeled Honey Island Swamp Monster that was stored in a box that Ford kept in his home. And it hasn't been seen by anyone but him. The film reveals what Ford was shooting at that day. From a blind tree setup he had, a large bipedal creature is faintly seen in the video roaming the woods from about 100 yards away. Cryptozoologists have analyzed this footage, and while a bit unclear, they don't rule out the possibility that such a creature exists. Everyone has been intrigued why Ford decided not to show anybody this video he captured. And his granddaughter was worried that people who would see this would mistake the monster for a fellow hunter. So, do you think that this Honey Island swamp monster is real? This was so much fun turning into a female version of Shrek, our own swamp troll who's kind of cute. While enjoying some Old Bay pickles, which are so delicious. I will have links down below and the recipe to those pickles. Stay tuned for more, and thank you so much for watching.